So there was a report recently by Tom Morris that I legitimately think will change how the whole entire 2025 AFL off-season trade period, all of the above. I think it will change, not only a lot of how the draft is going to play out, but also how I think the trade period might potentially play out. Again, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Tom Morris actually went on SEN and was asked about Harley Reid and if all of the rumors that he might potentially be requesting a trade at the season's end would still be happening. And again, for the longest time, the last couple months, the whole entire belief around the AFL and the football world is that Harley Reid wanted to be traded from the West Coast Eagles. Again, there were a ton of reports by pretty much everyone and their dad that Harley Reid was really unhappy at West Coast. He didn't get along with Andrew McQualter as much as he got on with, Adam Simpson, amongst a bunch of different other reasons why he potentially wanted out. But Tom Morris can confirm that over the last 6 weeks or so, the reason Harley Reid has not only been playing better footy, but has overall just looked a lot more happier at West Coast is that he has had a complete change in his mind where his happiness has just overall been way better, and his, his thoughts on the Eagles has just completely changed, where now instead of wanting to leave, it looks like he actually wants to stay. Again, this is believed to be because of a bunch of different reasons. Again, when Andrew McQualter took over and West Coast kind of changed a bunch of things up, it was believed that the Eagles actually had a bunch more people kind of in Harley Reid's ear that probably didn't need to be his ear, whereas when it was Adam Simpson coaching, it was like Adam Simpson, the midfield coach, and the performance coach probably all in his head. Kind of the only ones you really need. You're gonna have people talk to you that are gonna be in strength and conditioning, all of the above, right? And that's completely fine. But some people genuinely like to just be in a really small bubble. And from what it was being said is that Harley Reid had about 20 million different people kind of speaking to him that just didn't need to speak to him. But it seems that West Coast have kind of fully acknowledged this and actually stripped it back to where now Harley Reid, the only massive input he's really getting seems to be probably the coach, the midfield coach, maybe performance coach, and maybe strength and conditioning coach. He's not having some random ass board member talk to him about how he should be playing footy for legitimately no reason. Again, we don't actually know who these people are that were extra voices in his head, but it is just being said that Harley Reid, I guess, had way too many voices in his head who didn't need to be there, and they've kind of really stripped it back and cut it back from all of that. And I guess that just makes a ton of sense. Again, if you're a young player, you don't want these random people completely, speaking to you about how you should be going about your craft when their opinions probably don't necessarily need to matter. And again, maybe that's just what West Coast were doing, and they've kind of realized, oh shit, we don't need freaking Jesse from merchandising talking to Harley Reid about his kicking. I don't know who it was they had talking to this guy, but clearly they just had too many cooks in the kitchen. I don't really know. But if this is true, that Harley Reid does want to stay at West Coast now, this completely changes the trade period, because when you think about it, Richmond, who were really, really interested in him and probably thought they were going to be like the big favorites, were legitimately willing to offer up pick 2 and 3, and some reports are even saying they might have even thrown like a Jacob Blight in there just to sweeten the deal, which is a massive trade. And I mean, you barely ever get offered like picks 2 and 3. Never do teams even have pick 2 and 3. So to get offered that for a player means the player was extra special, and that's legitimately what was going on with the Harley Reid situation. So when you think about it, because Harley Reid, I guess, is staying at the Eagles now, not only does that trade not happen, meaning the Eagles don't get pick 2 and 3 in the draft, meaning they don't have complete total domination with basically pick 1, 2, and 3. But also Richmond keep pick 2 and 3 now, which completely changes things, because I think a lot of Tigers fans were going into this trade period already thinking, holy crap, we're getting Harley Reid, we're going to maybe do a couple other things, we're not really focusing on the draft. But now it's completely changed where they're not getting Harley Reid, it looks like, and they will have to focus on the draft. And now you've got Richmond fans' heads bobbing up and they're like, holy crap, we gotta start thinking about Willem Dersma here. We gotta start thinking about, you know, someone else here at pick 2 or 3 we probably didn't think we were gonna get. Again, there have also been a lot of reports as well that Oscar Allen is enjoying his time much more at West Coast, and he even just, you know, come off a couple of really good games for them, and it seems like he's actually found his form back for the Eagles again, which he hasn't had for a while due to a bunch of different things, you know, injuries being mainly a big factor. But again, the consensus is he still will be leaving, meaning that West Coast should probably get pick 2 in compensation in return, which would push Richmond to 3 and 4. But again, you also look at it like, if Oscar Allen does re-sign and that completely ends up changing, West Coast go from pick 1, 2, 3, and 4, you know, obviously losing Harley Reid and Oscar Allen, to just pick 1. So this could be a massive different change. Again, if they keep Harley Reid, they also might be more willing to actually go on and keep an Oscar Allen now, because if they were to lose Harley Reid, they would probably be like, look, we're still a little bit far, we need to go and get draft picks, and that's why we should let Oscar Allen leave. But if they keep, you know, Harley Reid and they keep Oscar Allen, keeping Oscar Allen also encourages other people to potentially join your club, and also keeping Harley Reid obviously encourages way more people to potentially join your club. So like players like Chad Warner, who did just re-sign, if there's any more of them available this year, but more so next year, they're going to definitely second think it, knowing that Harley Reid, a generational talent, is still here, and potentially Oscar Allen, if he stays, who's still got the captain of the club, and, you know, a guy who should still be a top 10 key forward when he is healthy. So Harley Reid completely changes everything if he does stay. You know, Oscar Allen might even be more likely to stay if Harley Reid stays, because he sees that the talent is still there. You know, Harley Reid, it massively affects Richmond. It also affects other teams, though. Like, we got to remember, not only did Richmond think they were the favourites, Essendon probably thought they were the favourites as well. And I think at the time making this video, they have like pick 8 and 10. And there were legitimate rumours online that they were going to offer 8, 10 and like a future first to get Harley Reid, which would be insane, because you never see teams offer 3 first-round picks. And this would have been one of the first ever situations. So again, you don't get that if you keep Harley Reid. But in saying that though, if I was them, you got to hold on to Harley Reid. He's a generational talent, and if I was them, I'd be really, really hoping that we could re-sign him in the off-season. Again, if he does stay and he is happy, try and get him to ink at least a 2-year deal or something in the off-season, knowing that he is absolutely here for the future and is really, really committed. Again, Essendon, if they don't get him, they will definitely be very upset. They're looking to land a big fish, and if they could land a big fish who was extremely young like Harley Reid, especially with their kind of average drafting as of late, they would have been really, really happy to do so. So again, so much changes if Harley Reid stays. Even more changes if Oscar Allen even stays now. Again, I'm still confident Oscar Allen will leave. I'm 50-50 on Harley Reid. Tom Morris did clarify that he could still leave. Like, it isn't completely ruling out that he's not going to leave, but there's a lot more of a chance now that he does stay. So, man, so many things change. Again, I want to hear your thoughts and opinions down below. So many things. Like, Richmond could, now that they got that spare money, they might be going after someone different who we didn't even think about now they can't get Harley Reid. Stuff like that. Comment what you guys think. How's the AFL going to change? How's the upcoming trade period? How's the upcoming off-season? All of the above going to change. I'd love to hear your scenarios on what you thought was going to happen and now what you think is going to happen. Definitely let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Subscribe to the channel for all latest sports content and news. My gaming/movie channel, which will also be getting linked down below. My Instagram, which will also be getting linked down below. Go check all of them out. But yeah, as I was saying, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.